Sir,
Good morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, in the last class, what we are done is we are discussed about utility classes in the first 2 hours of the last class, and fourth hour we are not able to connect to the internet properly. I think have you discussed this? What interface, map interfaces, and all? Can anyone respond?
program చూడలేదు సార్ దాన్ని.
We are not discussed program. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's see the things here. Generally, try to remember that in dictionary, sorry, data structures, their dictionary means it's a key value pair. I'm coming to this, what collection framework. If any class that is appended with, if any class that is appended with what do you say, map, then it can be considered as, then it can be considered as what key value pair. Then it can be considered as what a key value pair. If any class that what ends with map, then it can be that class is in a position to handle what key value pair. And basically we have three classes are there: hashed map, linked hash map, and then tree map. So the differences among those things is hash map implements what map, but doesn't maintains any order, whereas linked hash map what implementation of map, but what it maintains an insertion order. It maintains an insertion order. But if you need the key value pair in sorting order, then what a key then what we can go with, what we can make use of this tree map. Now with the help of this tree map, we can insert key value pair into this tree map object, where the data or the what values has been arranged as per the sorting order of key. That means we'll be having some value and we'll be having key. We'll be having some value, we'll be having what some key. So based on this keys is going to be in sorting order. Keys is going to be in what ascending order. And there doesn't worry about the values, but keys is going to be in what ascending order. So that is what the tree map. Now what we'll be seeing is we'll be seeing how to create an object for this tree map and how to retrieve the elements of this tree map, right? So what do you mean by this map key points is that a map does not allows duplicate values, but you can have but you cannot sorry, map does not allows duplicate keys, but you can have what a duplicate values. That means the keys should be unique. What their intention is that the keys should be what are unique, and there might be what are duplicate values might be present in that what a key value pair. And hash map and linked hash map allows null keys and values, but tree map does not allows any null keys and then values. That means your linked hash map is allows null keys and values, whereas your tree map does not allows null values or keys. A map cannot be traversed. We are not in a position to traverse the map, just like how we are done with respect to what array list and linked list by using what iterate and all. It's not possible to do by using what tree map object. So how we can do it is that we can convert this tree map. We can convert this map object in the form of what a set object by using two functions, either by using key set or else by using what entry set methods. With the help of these two things, what we can do is we can convert what a map object to what a key set and entry set. In order to do that, we need to go with another interface. That map contains internally one more interface, and the name of that interface is what entry. The name of that interface what entry. So when you want to deal with this entry interface, then we required the entry set method. Then we need to use entry interface. Then we need to use what entry interface. So then we need to use what entry interface. So this entry interface contains two methods, get key and get value, and with the help of these two methods, we'll be retrieving the values as well as what keys and values will be retrieving. So we'll be discussing how we'll be creating this map entry set and the key set, how we are using that we'll discuss. Now let's see what are all methods that we have. In general, in case of your normal thing like array list and linked list, we'll be having a method called add, but here we'll be having a method called put, and with the help of this put method, we'll be inserting key as well as value. And with the help of this put all method, in one map object, we can insert another map object. And with the help of remove function, we can remove a particular value based on key. So remove method is used to remove the entry from the object. This method is used to delete an entry from the map object, and get is used to get the value based on the key, and contains key, whether it checks whether a particular key exists in that particular map object or not. The same thing, only the difference is that they had came up with some function in the place of add. They came up with function called put. That's it. And apart from that, everything is same. Next thing is set space key set and set space entry set. This method is used to return set view containing all the keys, and this method is used to return set view containing all keys and values. So let's see the programming of this so that you might be understanding it clearly. So you can see here, we'll be taking some set of things here, and the name of the class is tree map, and the public static void main. Here I'm creating a tree map object. At the type of creating tree map object, I'm specifying the key must be integer, and the value must be what a string. Value must be what a string, and I'm taking map, the name of the object or the name of the reference, and here new space tree map. And before creating an object, also I'm specifying the type. And specifying the type. If you're not specifying type, you can take any key, either it might be string or integer or anything you can consider as key, and value also you can consider any type. But here specifically I'm saying that one is going to be integer, other one is going to be string. And after that, map dot put of 1 comma civil, I'm going to insert these values into map object. Map dot put of 1 comma civil, 5 comma CSC, 4 comma EC, 3 comma mechanical. Like that, I'm inserting the things into the tree map. After that, I'm going to print this. If I print this, I used to get the list of things, but I'm not in a position to apply iterator and all, because I don't have any iterator method in map interface. So I'm not in a position to do that. So that what I'm doing is just up to this, we'll be seeing the code, and later we'll be seeing entry set remaining things, iterator, and how we are used iterator and all. We'll be discussing later. Just save it. Java C tree map demo.java. So like that, we'll be getting the complete key value base. If you are trying to insert duplicate values, if you are trying to insert duplicate values, it doesn't takes. So let's see whether it generates any error or else. So if you are trying to insert duplicate values also over there, it doesn't accept the duplicate values. It's not accepting that duplicate values. Okay, and you can see here the elements that you got in sorting order. So the first thing what I inserted 1 and then 5 I inserted first, and the next 4, 3, 3 I inserted, but it has been taken in sorting order 1, 3, 4, 5. Even though if you are giving duplicate values, it doesn't accept it. It doesn't generate any error, but it does not accept it. Okay. Now what we'll be doing is it's not possible to apply to create iterator object on this map. So for that, what I'm doing is I'm creating a set object, set space set is equal to, and this map contains one entry set. Map contains one entry set. So map dot entry set method I'm using, and with the help of this map dot entry set method, I'm going to get set object. I'm going to get set object, and with the help of this set object, this set class contains we have iterator method, and with the help of that, what I'm doing is I'm creating an iterator. I'm creating an iterator object. So after getting an iterator object, you already know that has next and then next. With the help of these two functions, what we'll be doing is we are continuously getting the elements. We are continuously getting the elements. Now let's save this. Let's go with this. So first we printed what map object. So we'll be getting the complete thing. And after that, we are going to print by using iterator. One by one thing we are going to print, right? So the next way of printing this is that, we'll be going with some other way here. Now what happens is we'll be using entry. We'll be using entry interface. So I'm creating one nested interface variable, and the name of that nested interface variable is M, because map contains one entry interface, and that entry interface is present in a map interface. So first of all, outer interface dot inner interface space M colon map dot empty entry set, map dot entry set. So what happens is we'll be taking complete map objects thing, and every set will be taking. That means first time here what happens, we'll be going with the first element. If first element is there, it prints that first element. After that, second element is there or not, it checks. It prints second element. Third element is there or not, it checks, and then it prints the third element. Fourth element is there or not, it prints fourth one. And the same thing happens here also, that this map.entry set generates a complete entries which were there in map object, and it takes the first entry, stores in M, and it prints m.key, get keys, and then get value. It prints both the get value key as well as value. Like that, second entry it will take from map object. Second entry it will take from this map object and prints the third entry, fourth entry. Like that, it prints keys and then values separately. Keys and then values separately it will print. Keys and then values separately it will print. Okay. Now what happens is I will be going with set one is equal to map.key set. Here what I done is entry set function I used. Entry set function completely uses entries. That means it gives values as well as key as well as value. But in coming to this set, what happens is it generates only keys. And then with the help of this iterator, we'll be printing only, we are creating iterator object. Set one is equal to iterator. And after that, we'll be printing the things. That means here, this key set generates only keys, whereas map.entry set generates both keys and then values. But here we are generating only keys with respect to set, and here we are generating both keys and values with respect to entry set method. With respect to entry set method, both methods are from map interface. Both methods are from map interface, and they returns a set object. So now. So first thing is we have printed with respect to object, and next thing is we are went with respect to iterator. Next we are using a map.entry interface we are used. After that again set with the help of key set object. Okay, so this is what happened over here. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. You can make a note of this program up to this. Remaining, I will be sharing in the notes. Make a note of this fast. Make it fast, students. We need to go with other things also. Completed? Response, students, completed?
Yes, sir.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
మరి చెప్పాలి కాము.
Completed.
What about others?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, early version of Java did not included what collection framework. It only defines the several classes and interfaces that provides a method for storing the objects. And that means in Java 1.0 and 1.1, there is no kind of what collection framework, but this collection framework was added in Java SC 1.2 version, and all the classes has been re-engineered to support this collection framework, and these classes are known as legacy classes. All legacy classes and interfaces were redesigned by JDK 5 to support generics. In general, legacy classes supported because there is still some code that uses them. Okay, so very simple thing that all these classes which were there in 1.0 and 1.1 version, and those classes were added into this 1.2 version, and to support collection framework. And this classes can be called as what legacy classes. That's the reason which was there in 1.1 version, those classes can be called as legacy classes, that I already said you many times, right? So this classes was redesigned to support JDK 1.5 version also. So these classes can be called as legacy classes. And there are legacy classes that has been included in java.util package. Few of them are dictionary, hash table, properties, stack, and then vector. All legacy classes are synchronized. That means all these things are going to be synchronized. So this is dictionary is one abstract class, represents a key value pair and works similar to map. Works similar to map. And we have some methods like object put, like all these things what we have in map. The same kind of thing will be there, but it's an abstract class. But we are not going with this dictionary. We'll be going with hash map, or else we'll be going with tree map. Only these two classes will be using either tree map will be using, or else linked hash map will be using, right? So apart from that, we'll not be going with this dictionary and all. So just know that dictionary is one abstract class that represents what key value pair. Now another type of legacy class is going to be an hash table. And this hash table is similar to hash map, which can store the elements in the form of key value pair. And hash table is synchronized, assuring proper results even multiple threads act on simultaneously. The same thing put get things are there. So the difference between hash table and hash map is hash class is synchronized, hash map is not synchronized. Thread safe map hash map works fast. Order of table remains constant over the time, does not guarantee the order of map will be remain constant over the time, right? So let's see whether we have any hash table. Yeah, let's go with this hash table, just like how we have in case of PRPQ and all, the same thing here. So here we will considering two hash tables. Sorry, yeah, two hash tables I'm going to consider. Hash HT1 and HT2, two hash tables I'm going to consider, and the two hash tables I'm going to put the key value paste, and later I'm going to print these two values on the screen, just like how we are done with respect to hash map. Whereas your hash map, what it does is it is going to arrange the elements as per your keys. As per the keys, it is going to arrange the elements. Okay, so here there won't be anything that is, so in what way the order is not preserved here. 1 3 2 1 is there, and then 6 5 4. That means it's coming in somewhat different way. Let's see. The descending order we are getting over there. Okay. But in this, they're not given anything results when multiple threads. Like that. Okay, fine. So that is what your hash table, just like your hash map. Here you'll be having hash table, but you are getting the values in descending order. But in your tree map, you'll be getting the elements in ascending order. Okay, ascending order. Everywhere is going to be like this only. In the place of key value pair, if they asked about key value pair, then try to use put method. If it is a normal thing like array list and linked list kind of thing, means then try to use a method called add. Apart from that, nothing will be there. Creating an object, adding, and then printing. That's it. And if it is possible, try to use one iterator over there. In the same class, try to create get an iterator object and use while loop has more, iterator dot has more, and iterator dot next, and write down the output. That's it. Apart from that, nothing we need to do over here in collection framework, right? So this is what the things that we have. This what are there before collection framework. Also, these classes are there: dictionary, hash table, properties, stack, and then vector classes are there. And generally, this dictionary is an abstract class. Hash table is is a class where we can create an object for that class and we can insert key value pairs into that. If you insert duplicate values, then what happens in hash table? Let's try to do this. We are trying to insert 3 2 times. Let's see what output you will be getting. So there is no error at all, right? Only one time it will be considered. That means it doesn't allows duplicate values. Map does not allows what duplicate values. Is it clear for everyone? Hash table?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the next thing is properties. What do you mean by properties over here? Try to understand. Properties extends hash table and used to maintain the list in which both key values are strings. So first thing they are saying that it extends hash table, but it is used to maintain list in which both key and values are strings. Key and values are strings. So key and values are strings. Both key has to be string and then value has to be string in case of property. And this property class provides a method to get the data from properties file and stores the data into a properties file. That means you can read the data. Suppose you have file may contain some set of properties. Properties in the sense it might be containing object and then value. It may be containing object and then value. It might be containing object and a value. So properties class provides some methods to get the data from the properties file and to store the data into the properties file. Suppose you have a property file, and in that property file you'll be having what a value and then object, value and then object, like that you'll be having what properties file. And this properties file contains some set of methods, and those methods are used to read the data from the property file and to send the data into the property file. So generally we'll be using this kind of things in web applications. And in that web applications, whenever you want to establish a connection from your Java, from your application to database, will be taking the database credentials from a particular file, and that file can be called as sometimes that file can be called as a properties file. Will be taking pp. So it can be considered as what a properties file. db.pp, it can be considered as a properties file where we will be storing some data in the form of what a key value pair, and the key is going to be string and object is going to be what a string. So what we can do is, with the help of this properties class, we can get the data from the particular file and then we can send the data into that particular file. So multiple threads can share the single properties without need of external synchronization. One useful capability of properties is class you can specify a default property, it will be returned. So it's not required, but try to remember the first point. So properties class provides a method to get the data from properties file and to store the data into the properties file. So for that we have what some methods are there. Get the property, which is used to get the value based on the key, and as a get property key string default property returns a default value argument if the property is not found, otherwise returns value associated with the key. So default argument or default value ni ఇచ్చేస్తుంది అనమాట. ఒకవేళ మనము పంపిస్తే both అంటే key value ni ఇస్తే I will be showing you it, no problem. And then list sends the property list to output stream linked to OS, and then enumeration we will not required, and set property. With the help of this we can set the property of the we can set the property into a file. And load will be loading a particular file information with the help of load function. Store, we are going to store the particular after writing string to string specified by D, the property list is written to the output string linked to OS, and the string property names, like many classes are available, will be many functions are available, we'll be discussing those things. Now let's see one simple example over here with respect to properties. Try to remember properties means which is used to get the data and which is used to set the data from the properties file, So let us consider here we'll be having some set of properties file here. I'm going to open those properties first of all, and we have db.properties file, and this dd.properties file contains key values. That is username is going to be key and value is going to be student, and here username is going to be password is going to be key, and value is going to be hacker. Like that we have one property over here, and you can also take multiple properties, but first of all we'll see only one property. We are taken two properties we are taken over here. Now I would like to retrieve these two properties with the help of this properties class. And how I'm going to retrieve here, let's see. See, import space java.util, because it is from util package, so I'm going to import it. And then public class property demo, public static void main string args. Now what happens is I'm going to open a particular file. db1. Okay, db1 lo emundo chuddam first. db1.properties, or else we'll be taking here db. I'm going to open a particular file in read mode. If file exists, it opens that particular file. If file does not exist, it doesn't open, it returns null. So file reader f is equal to new file reader db2.properties. Then it is going to load this particular file which is there in that particular folder. See in E drive. Right. So like that we have some things here in this properties folder itself. We have db is there as well as db1 is there. Property demo.java is there. Property demo1.java is also there. Property demo1.java is also there. Now notepad db properties. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to compile it. Java C space and then property demo.java. Java, property demo.java. In this property demo.java, what we have is we have opened that particular file. After that, we created that particular property object. We created one property object. After creating this property object, what I'm doing is I'm going to attach this particular file db2.properties file f, db2.properties file f into what properties object. That means p dot load of f. And as we discussed earlier, load function, what is the duty of this load function is it is reads the property list and from the input stream linked to it, right? That means what it does here is already one stream, this file reader is nothing but one stream, and that stream as what opened this db2.properties. Now what happens is this stream I'm going to link it to what a property object with the help of load object, Now by using this properties functions, what I can do is I can get the data which is there in db2.properties. I can get the data which is there in db2.properties by using what do you say, by using this what I can do is I can get the data which is there in db2.properties. Now I'm not using any functions from f, I'm using all the functions from p itself. You can see p dot get property of name and p dot get property of section. So p dot get property of name and p dot get property of section. Actually in that we have username and password, so try to take that username and password. So those things will be displayed over there. Now I'm going to compile it. Sorry, we are not taking Java one. Saying that file not found exception, that means it's not able to open that particular file. So we don't have db2 over there, we have only db1 and then db. So we'll be taking here db1 or db. So we'll be taking db over there. Right, we got student and then hacker. Okay, so now what we'll be doing is we'll be going with one more program where we'll be sending the data into a property file, Suppose I'm going with the db1. If file exists, it opens it. If file does not exist, it creates a file. So we don't have db2 properties, so I'm going to take here db2 properties. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating file writer. With the help of file writer, what I'm doing is I'm creating a file. If file exists, it opens and the content of the file will be deleted. If file does not exist, it what creates a new file. So you can see here in this we don't have any db2 what file is not there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to create db2.properties file. After that, I'm creating property object and then p dot set of property name comma scap and property section comma what a. After that, I'm going to say that store f comma high, store f comma high. So how it is going to be happen here is it is going to store these two things, name and then section will be stored in the form of key value pair, and this p dot store f comma high will be will comes as a come as the top of the key value pair. Now what happens? Let's see. Property demo one, Java C space property demo one -cp So here we are not printed anything. Now, what happens is, let's go with this DB2. Earlier we don't have DB2 file. Let's try to open this DB2 file, and this DB2 file contains the things what we have forwarded over there. So hi, and then followed by at what time it was printed. That means some data, and then what a name, and then section. Now what we will be doing is, we'll be going with to create one more file. We are going to create one more file, and the name that I'm taking here is db3.properties. And here I'm not going to take this store. I'm not going to take this store. Just set property and get property. Then again I'm going with the set property and get property name one, and then section one. This I'm going to take here, and this I'm going to take here as what B. Now I'm going to save it. The file name that I'm taking over here is db3. Again I'm compiling it. Okay, sorry. So let's go with db3. Now this db3 contains what doesn't contains anything over there. The thing is, we have to do commit. You know about commit operator in commit operation in dbms. So we need to do that. So p dot store of p comma, sorry, f comma, some message if you want you can give, or empty message also you can. So the syntax, first data followed by what f. Okay, so then only the data will be forwarded into that. Without the store, what data won't be forwarded into it. What's the syntax? Do you remember? P dot store of
If comma some message.
f comma some message, right? Sorry. So let's go with the db3. So this time we have message followed by what the thing. Okay, right? Now you can retrieve these things from using property demo. Using property demo, you can retrieve what the things. So what's the name and all those things? Name, section, one, name and section. Name, section. Okay, we need to change the file name over there. Property demo db doesn't contains all these things. Db contains only username and password, but db3 contains all these things. So we need to change the file name. Now this time we'll be getting. Okay, fine. So this is what your properties, and the left out thing is going to be only one thing, that is comparator. We'll discuss it. Any doubts in this property? You might be getting this properties what class in external examination, because it's somewhat different when compared to all your collection framework classes. So that's the reason you might be getting it. So we already discussed about stack and vector in the previous classes. So almost everything we discussed, you can also go with this arrays class also. Arrays class provides several static methods to perform many tasks directly without using loops. and searching, all these things are there. So just we'll see one program. We have just like linker list. We have an array class in Java. We have an array class in Java. All our static methods directly we can use with respect to class name. Right, we are taking one array over here, and after that we are printing that with the help of thing, and then we'll be using arrays dot sort of a. We'll be giving the list of elements to this sort function, and with this sort function we are calling with respect to what arrays dot sort, and it is going to sort the elements in sorting order, and we are going to print arrays dot toString of a, then we are going to apply binary search on this. If a is the list that we are sending, and if this a list contains 22 means it returns what 1, and it will be printing not 1, it returns what index, and then we are going to print appropriate index of that, found at which index that we are going to print over there. Else what will be giving some message that element is not found, and at particular thing will be filling this element, and after filling what is the value that we have, and those things will be there. And there will be using with respect to toString and all. Right, so first we got array elements, and array elements are going to be in sorting order. After that 22 at 3, found at third position, and then it is going to fill all the elements with what 17. How many elements are there, and all those elements has been filled with what thing. And we can also use this in a separate way also, like filling an appropriate position, appropriate element. Do we have anything else? So check Java API lo, you might be getting it. So toString, what it does is it converts array to string and returns it. Array to string. That means it takes an array and it converts that in the form of what string. Converts that in the form of what string. It was overridden over there. Okay. And here also same thing. Takes an array, converts that into form of what string. So one thing that I have a doubt over here, whether you have a doubt or not. Okay, fine. So this is what your arrays thing, and the last thing that we have here is comparator. Right. So what happens with comparator? Comparator is one of the interface in Java, and with the help of this comparator interface, what we can do is we can use it to order the objects. Comparator interface is used to order the objects of user defined class. If you want to place the objects into any class, that might be linked list or a hash or a asset or priority queue or anything, if you want to place, then we can make use of comparator. With the help of comparator, we can decide the order in which the objects need to be inserted into any collection framework object. It provides a multiple sorting sequence. You can sort the elements on the basis of any data member, for example, roll number, name, age, or anything else. So generally, this comparator is going to provide two methods. One is going to be compare method. Other one is going to be an equals method. So based on, we will be using any one method, or based on these two properties also, your data is going to be arranged. Your data is going to be arranged. It's very simple thing to understand, but it's going to be somewhat complicated when we are going to write the program. So I will be coming up with one simple example. about this comparator. See, I'm going with one student class over here, and this student class contains two things. I've taken this program from Greek for Greek. It's very, very interesting and simple program. Actually, many things we can do with respect to comparator. The comparator applications are very huge. In real time, the comparator is used a lot. But here we don't have sufficient time to discuss many examples, but I'm trying to discuss this example, try to see this. We have a class on user-defined class, and the name of that user-defined class is a student class, which contains two members and then two methods. Two methods: public student, which takes constructor that takes two parameters, and one method, public string getName method. So two things it is going to take. One is constructor, other one is method, and two variables that is going to take. And after that class space student comparator implements comparator. Student comparator implements what? Comparator. That means here I'm going with one more class, students. Try to listen here. I'm going with one more class, and the name of the class is student comparator. And this student comparator is going to implementing what? Comparator interface. Implementing what? Comparator interface. So this comparator interface contains two methods, and we can make use of the two methods, or else we can use of any one of the methods. So here I'm using only one method of comparator, public int space comparator, student s1 comma student s2, student s1 comma student s2. And here we'll be making an order. We are writing an order to sort the to place the objects based on this condition. To place the object based on this condition. And what is that condition that I will discuss, don't worry. So how we are placing this, we'll discuss it clearly. Here I'm going to provide implementation for only one method. We are not providing implementation for any other method. But comparator is an interface. If you're not going to provide implementation for another method also, it doesn't generate any error for us. It doesn't generate any error, because what equals method might be, and implementation provided method like opening and closing brace will be there, but we don't know that it's not giving any error even though you are not implementing any other method. Equals method in a comparator. Now public class example, and here I'm going with the main method. Inside this main method I'm going with scanner class, and then what happens is now I'm going with the concept called priority queue again. Why I'm going with priority queue means because in priority queue we'll be going to follow some priority. Based on priority we'll be placing the elements into the priority queue. So at the time of discussing this priority queue, what I said is that the elements need to be inserted based on certain priority, and that priority must be decided by the comparator. Must be decided by the comparator. At that time we are not used any comparator. Just if you are not going to if you want to give your own priority, then we need to go with comparator. Then we need to go with what? Comparator. But then we are not used anything. If you are not using comparator, means the natural ordering can be done. Natural ordering in the sense sorting order, the elements are going to be placed, but when you display it, you'll be getting in the form of what? Have data structure. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going with priority queue, and this priority queue I'm specifying I would like to place the student details. Student is nothing but a user defined class, and this student details I would like to place into priority queue. Priority queue student PQ is equal to new priority queue student, and initial capacity of priority queue is going to be 5, and the new student comparator. New student comparator I'm going to take. So this new student comparator is an interface, is a class that implementing what? Comparator interface, which contains a method like a compare to method and equals method. So if you write one method, then one method is going to be executed. If you write two methods, then two methods are going to be executed. Here I written only one method, that is compare to method. Based on CGPA comparison, we need to insert the elements. We need to insert the elements. That means when you insert some element into this priority queue, the methods what we have in student comparator, and those methods will be executed. According to that methods only, the student details will be inserted into the priority queue. The student details will be inserted into the priority queue. So till now what I done is I not done anything over here. I taken one student class, it's a user defined class. After that student comparator, it's implementing what? Comparator class. And here I'm specifying that the student comparator is going to deal with a student class, is going to deal with what? Student class. Okay, so that information I'm giving over there, and one simple logic I written. I will be explaining you about this logic. Now I created priority object. At the time of creating priority object itself, I'm going to send comparator. I'm going to send comparator. That means if you want to send any elements into the comparator, and those elements can be inserted, if you want to send any elements into the priority queue, and those elements can be inserted based on this student comparator class. Student comparator class. See, I'm creating an object of the student here. I'm creating an object of the student st student1 is equal to new student of some student name followed by what CGPA I'm going to take. When I create an object automatically, which is going to be invoked, default constructor two parameterized constructor is going to be involved because we are passing two parameters over there, and two parameter constructor is going to be invoked, and we are going to store name in this dot name and CGPA in this dot CGPA. After storing that, your student one contains an information of what Nandini and then 3.2 Nandini and then 3.2, and this was the first thing, first object that I'm going to insert. See, I'm going to take a pq dot add. I'm going to take what pq dot add. So when I'm going to take pq dot add of student one, that means first student details I'm placing into priority queue object. I'm placing into priority queue object. At that time, there won't be any problem at all. At that time, there won't be any problem at all. When I'm created second student object, student two is equal to new student. I'm going to take what here? Student name followed by CGPA, and I'm going to insert this into what priority queue object, priority queue add of student to do. Now, at the time of inserting this, what happens? This was the second object that I'm going to insert. So when we are inserting the second object, the logic of compare to and equals is going to be executed. The logic of compare to and equals is going to be executed. It takes the last student S1 and then the current student S2. It compares the CGPA. It compares what a CGPA of what first student and then the student that you want to insert. And based on that comparison of CGPA, the what thing is going to insertion is going to be done. If returns one means it is going to be inserted. If it is not written one means it's not going to be inserted. -1 means it's going to be in different way. So I will discuss it. We'll discuss it. Don't worry. And we are adding like that. 3 students will be adding over there. 3 students objects we created and 3 students objects we added over there. After that, 1 minute. After that, what we'll be doing is we'll be printing this student elements. That means as per the comparator instructions, which were the logic which was written in compare method, and as per that logic, the elements has been inserted. And you might be getting some doubt that when this compare method is going to be executed, means at the time of adding the elements into priority queue, the compare method logic will be executed. Compare method logic will be executed. Compare method logic will be executed, right? So then we'll be going with students served in their priority order. We'll be taking not equal to of priority queue dot is empty. If it is not empty, then it enters into that, and with the help of this poll method, which gives the head of the thing, and it prints what get name. That means it's going to print the name as per the CGPA. As per the CGPA, it will be printed. That means the CGPA is going to be in which order? S1.CGPA. S1.CGPA. That means the first student. Suppose already Nandini information was there in that. Nandini information was there in that particular thing. So what's the Nandini information that we have? Nandini and then 3.2. And second student that I would like to insert is Anmol and then 3.6. Now what happens is this S1 means what? First student Nandini, and is that student CGPA is less than this student or not, it will be checking. Okay, so S1.CGPA means 3.2, and this S2.CGPA is what? 3.6. So what happens here? First student CGPA is less than the second student CGPA, then what insertion is going to be done? Insertion is going to be done because it returns 1 means insertion can be done. And second thing is what? Same thing, 4.0. So as per their order, it will be printed. Let's see. I will be explaining you again this comparator. Don't worry. Just to understand you what is the purpose of comparator. That for that purpose, I'm showing this program. So highest order it will be getting. It's not getting the least order. Those who has what more CGPA, and that you will be getting over there. And next to that, you will be getting the things. So I will explain about this compare method later. Clearly, I will explain this compare method. It takes some time to understand about this compare method internal, what is going on comparator, that you need to understand. So then only you are in a position to know how this things. But the main motto of this comparator is to place the elements into the priority queue or any other data structure as per the user requirement. Will be placing the elements. Okay. So it's used to order the objects of a user defined class. That is the main purpose of comparator. So this is what the thing that we have. So with this, we are done with fourth unit, except the explanation part of comparator. Remaining what everything we discussed clearly. 1 minute. Be with me another 5 minutes. Right. So this way of viewing the world, agents and communities, this I will give you theory things. It's complete theory. And from here, we already discuss inheritance, method binding, and what summary of object-oriented programming concepts. However, you will be not be getting anything. You will be getting a if object-oriented means they will be asking specifically about inheritance, like that. They will be asking. You can address that. And from this Java buzzwords to this, we discussed everything. Forms of inheritance is there, but I will cover that in what revision classes. And in packages also, maximum. Sorry, in second unit, maximum everything we covered except serialization programs and enumeration. We are not covered. Rewiring everything we covered. In exception handling, everything we covered except this present two models and uncaught exception. This is theory things. Already it will be there. Uncaught exceptions will be there with respect to throws, and receptive models is like terminations, and receptive models is like what the program is going to be terminated abnormally, and in order to do that, we'll be going with exception handling mechanism, throws, keyword, like that. They will be giving something in resumptive models or termination models. That's it. And multi-threading, we discussed everything. In collection framework also, you can see collection overview, collection interfaces, array list, linked list, PRPQ, accessing via collection iterator. We used what list iterator also for each loop, map interfaces, comparator, collection algorithms we seen, arrays we have seen, maximum all the things we have seen, except there is a doubt with comparator. Apart from that, everything we have covered. Okay, so this is the end of your unit 4 and unit 3. Nothing is there to discuss. Comparator is there in unit 4, and unit 2, we have something called as serialization. Serialization, that means every unit on average, that means unit 1 we have one topic to discuss, forms of inheritance, and unit 2 we have serialization programs, and unit 3 we don't have anything to discuss. Unit 4 again comparator program is there, we need to discuss. Remaining everything was completed in one unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and unit 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything was completed. Only this 3 topics are left out. And in revision, most probably I will be covering this 3 topics. If revision sessions were there, if revision sessions was not there, means after completion of unit 5, I will be going with this those things. Okay, so unit 5 mainly includes 3 parts. It's very time consuming for us to discuss about this unit 5. So GUI programming, first of all, it's going to be an introduction part, and in one single class we'll be going with introduction part. Maximum I try to complete what all these things in one single class, because this takes less time only. Layout managers takes what very less time. What are all different layouts that we have, that we'll be discussing over there. That's it. And then we'll be going with event delegation model. It takes at least 4 hours. 4 hours, at least 4 hours, at least. And again, up to here it takes at least 4 hours again, at least. And this we can complete in 1 or 2 hours, because we'll not be going with everything, just we'll be going with few things, and how to attach that into your interface. Those things will be discussing over there. That's it. Apart from that, nothing will be there. So here 4 hours minimum, 4 hours, 8 plus 2 10, 10 plus 1 9, at least 10 hours is required for discussing unit 5. So let's see, based on the availability of classes, to what extent your schedule will be there. As per that schedule, we'll be going with unit 5. As per the instructions, we'll be going with unit 5. So apart from that, up to unit 4, we completed everything, and there is a pending from my side that regarding PPT and notes. And PPT is ready with me. I will be sharing the PPT. I've thought of sharing both units at a time, but I will do it most probably today or tomorrow. I will be sharing. If not, I will be sharing at least PPTs. I will be placing in the what blog. Okay. If you have any doubts, let me know. Then otherwise you can do. Any doubts? Let me know. Srikar, Pawan Kalyan, any doubts?
ఒకసారి కంపారేటర్స్ వల్ల కావాలి సార్.
చెప్తాను, ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. ఎందుకంటే ఈరోజు కంప్లీట్ చేయాలి కాబట్టి what I given overview on that, but I will discuss comparator with another example. Just overview చూపించడానికి ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఏదో కంప్లీట్ క్లోజ్ చేయడానికి కాదు, but I will discuss it comparator because I too know that you may not be understanding about that comparator. Many examples are there, those things are there with me. I will come with those things.
Yes.
Any other doubts, Srikar, Kartikeya, Maniteja? Akshita joining again. Those who don't have doubts, you can leave. Akshita, 48. What's the problem, students? If you want, you can leave. Srikar, Jayashree, Kartikeya, I will take picker.